Hey, well, welcome everybody. My name is Cal Faber, and today I want to talk to you about what I think is one of the most important aspects, one of the most important skills that you can actually have, and something that has helped me earn incredible amounts of money from understanding people, not just in the real estate industry, but in the networking industry. And I thought, I'm going to share it with you. And it's going to be based on this book by a author named Florence Littauer, that has taught me about personalities, and I know you're going to enjoy it. So this is just 15 minutes. This is our 15-minute power, 15-minute segment. So listen in, grab your pen and paper. I know you're going to want to take some notes. Feel free to play this over and over again. I encourage you to do so. This absolutely, if you learn about these personalities, not only will it improve your relationships with your significant other, it'll improve your business relationships, it'll improve, if you're out there in the direct sales industry, your success in sales, it'll improve your recruiting and networking, it'll improve your working relationships with your customers and clients in any industry that you're part of. So let's go ahead and get started. This is called Personality Plus. We're going to talk about personalities, the four basic types, and let's go ahead and get this party started. So understanding, that we're not all the same, that we're not from the same mold is really, really important. People are built differently. In fact, no person's DNA is the same out there. God has made us different. There's just no ifs and ands about it. We are completely different. And, people can be complicated. It's usually not the products or the services or the interactions that we do. It's people that are complicated. And it's a really highly important skill set for you to learn these basics. And if you do, you can have so much more fun out there when you're interacting and dealing with people. And it will increase your sponsorship rate or your salesmanship rate or your likability rate with people 50 to 100%. It's going to happen. I promise you. And I encourage you, once you learn what you are on this little 15-minute segment, you're going to be armed and dangerous. But again, I really suggest that you pick up this book by Florence Littauer, Personality Plus, and you start learning about your personality and what you are, and take the personality test, which is actually in the book, which will give you strengths and weaknesses, and you'll be able to tell. Most people are a combination of personalities. They have, a little bit of this and then a stronger amount of that. So, you're going to enjoy it once you understand it. So, there are four basic types of personalities. The first one is that I'm going to talk about today probably is going to be the choleric. Then there's the melancholy. There's the phlegmatic, and there is the sanguine. So the powerful choleric is, usually that general, that leader, the one that wants to direct everything. And the perfect melancholy is the one that you go visit their place and, you look at their pocket protector. It's got all the pens and pencils perfectly lined up. Everything's in order on their desk. Books are from the largest to the smallest on their shelves. There's the peaceful phlegmatic. This is the person that you go to at a social event, and they're tucked away in the most comfortable chair of the whole place, and they're watching people. They're just listening and watching, and they're the peaceful phlegmatic. And then there's the sanguine, like the dancing lady that you see there. They're the life of the party. Usually you can tell that everybody's crowded around them, and they're telling a story. They're very animated. They're wearing lots of bling. They're excited. Often they tell the same story 2 or 3 times over again, and it changes all the time. So let's talk about those 4 basic types here, a little bit more detail. Again, the popular sanguine, they're the fun, creative, enthusiastic, childlike storyteller. They're demonstrative. They like to move their hands. They like your facial expressions. They're exciting. One of the bad things about them, I guess, is they're an overtalker. They exaggerate. They're typically very disorganized, too happy. They're very loud. They're distracted. They're like the, squirrel. Woo, I'm going to, what? They're on to the next thing kind of thing. Very distractive and repetitive. Repetition is a big thing with them, okay? They talk about the same thing over and over and over and over again. But they are very relationship orientated. The other one is the peaceful phlegmatic, and the peaceful phlegmatic is the very easygoing person, calm, patient. They're very consistent. They're often mediators. You see them, they mediate because they're great listeners. And, they're administrative types. So typically there can be an accountant. They're very, very good listeners. And you often see them matched up in a relationship with a popular sanguine, because the sanguines, of course, like to talk, and the phlegmatics just listen. Yes, dear. Yeah. And so that's basically them. They're the watcher. They're what we call the peaceful phlegmatic, like the Winnie the Pooh. You can see the type of relationships that we're putting towards, the Winnie the Pooh story here. But, the Tigger, is the popular sanguine. The Winnie the Pooh is typically the peaceful phlegmatic. We also have the powerful choleric. This is the doer. This is like the rabbit, right? They're the leader. They're dynamic. They're very confident in themselves, very decisive. Goal-orientated. They like to see the goals that they're going to be going for, and they run for them hard. They're unemotional, so, they often don't let their feelings get mixed up, particularly in business. It's like cut and dry, boom, They're very active. The downside of them, because they're the task-orientated type relationships. So, again, popular sanguine and peaceful phlegmatic are more the relationship-orientated. On this side of the graph, you have the task orientated. So, typically because their downside is they're bossy, they're impatient, they're very short tempered, they like to dominate the conversations, they're intolerant to people that make mistakes or goof up, and very demanding. So if you have a boss like that, boy, you want to learn how to speak to that person, right? We also have the perfect melancholy. This is the thinker. This is the person that is very analytical, right? Thoughtful, analytical. They're very scheduled, like to be on schedules. They're artistic, typically. Not autistic, artistic. They're musical, sacrificing, organized. These are great people to plan events. If you are in a structure or a business or some company that needs something organized, annually or quarterly, these are your people. These people love that kind of stuff. But typically they're very moody, they're hypochondriac, they're high highs, they're low lows, right? They're up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And they're very insecure socially, so they're not very good around people socially. So you'll typically see them, they'll kind of be like a phlegmatic, but they'll be more engaged. Okay, they won't be tucked away in their chair. They'll be more engaged, watching people, trying to relate to people. And so, but they do get depressed. They're often too meticulous. They're too organized and very unforgiving about people who are messy. So they typically don't get along very good with a popular sanguine in a work relationship, but they're a great person for the highly disorganized sanguine in a relationship, because they can typically have the household managed well, right? Or vice versa, right? So that is the 4 basic types. So let's get a little bit more into those types of personalities. And let's talk first about the peaceful phlegmatic. They decide very slowly. They don't make decisions quickly. So if you encounter a peaceful phlegmatic, you'll often find it's really hard to even get an emotion out of them or a commitment. And, in a sales process, typically you have to ask for the sale 5 or 6 or 7 times. This is perfect for a peaceful phlegmatic because often they need to think things through. But even then, they're not a quick decision maker. They make it very slowly. But they are personal, right? They take things very personal. They have very gentle gestures, so you'll often see them very calm, very relaxed when they talk, not too animated. Their organizational skills, they're very systematic with making sure that things have their place, but not as much as a melancholy. When they want to recharge after a long day, they like to retreat and often pick up a book and just go someplace or sit someplace or listen to music. That's how they are. Their speech is conversational. What that means is when they're spoken to, they often think about what's said and then they'll respond. But they will listen 2 to 3 times as much as they speak. Okay? And their communication is very sincere. And, if you're approaching them with something, they're going to want to know how it comes together. How is this going to work? right? Because they want the security, right? Their dreams are all about security, having something locked in stone, right? And, their whole relationship is by trust. So if you're not being forthcoming with them, or you're being all over the map with stuff, you're probably going to have a tough time relating to a peaceful phlegmatic or getting them to trust you. And their strength is, though, that they are very friendly, right? They're friendly in terms of they love to listen. But they really have a struggle to be firm with something, right? In other words, to make a firm decision on something. So, they're adaptable, they're peaceful, they're submissive, they can be controlled, they're very reserved. They often are satisfied with the simple things. They're very patient, but they're shy. They're obliging, so often they'll just agree to something, right? Without, so it's because they don't want to cause waves. They don't want conflict. And, they're very diplomatic, consistent. They're very inoffensive. Their humor is very dry. They're often a great mediator because, again, they listen, right? And then they repeat back. They're often contented with where they are, so they're not into the big goals and dreams and, wow, you could be driving this, that, or whatever. They're often, you won't find them as the life of the party, let's put it that way. And they have a very balanced nature to them. So that is the peaceful phlegmatic. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that probably 30% of the population is that type of a personality. So just to give you something to shoot at, there's a lot of people have peaceful phlegmatic in them. Now the melancholy, these are often the engineers of life out there, if so to speak. They decide very cautiously about something. They're very functional. Their gestures are controlled, so they often have a firm face, and they think things through a lot. They're very, very organized, highly organized. You can often pick off a melancholy right away because you're going to the house, you look at their workspace or where they're at, everything is in perfect order. And, if they're in a relationship and they're in with a sanguine, believe me, there's conflict in that relationship. So you can often tell a perfect melancholy very, very quickly. Again, they're very emotionless in their speech. You don't see them raising their voice really and get excited. They're just kind of talking monotone all the time because they're like a robot, right? Just telling you what it's like. So they want to know why this will work and why they should be involved, right? So they want to know the details about what is happening. They're very detailed, remember? Their communication is very credible. They want the facts. So if you don't know the facts, you want to be very careful about how you talk to a melancholy, because believe me, they will Google it, okay? So, their dreams are long-term. They're looking 40 years out. Okay, that's a melancholy. They're very logical. They usually have a high intellect. They're very factual. Their strengths is they're very factual. So they know the facts, right? They don't exaggerate or embellish. And they really struggle hard to have fun because they're so serious all the time. So again, very analytical, they're persistent, they're self-sacrificing, they're the perfect people to put in front of something that needs to get done and get organized. They will do it, and they will self-sacrifice. They're very considerate, respectful, they're sensitive, they're the big planners out there, very scheduled, very orderly, very faithful. In a relationship, they're a very faithful person, very detailed, they're often quite cultured, they're an idealist. They're very deep in their conversation. They're very musical, often thoughtful, loyal. They're the chart makers out there, okay, everything. They're the perfectionist, and often they're very behaved. So that is your perfect melancholy. So you want to definitely have some perfect melancholies on your team. But believe me, if you're going to talk to them about something, they are very detailed, and you're going to have a very serious conversation with them. So the powerful choleric. Again, powerful choleric is amazing. These are the true leaders out there. They decide very quickly. They're very dominant, very direct. They're practical. They love competition. That's how they recharge, with competition. They're very direct in their speech. They want to know what is this going to do? What is this doing for me? They communicate very direct, right? They want to run the conversation. Their dreams are all about their accomplishments. They have their walls of trophies, right? Their medals. That's what they like. They're driven by sheer willpower, and their strength is that they're very firm, and their struggle, though, is to be friendly, right? They are often adventurous, they're persuasive, they're strong-willed, they're competitive, they're resourceful, they're self-reliant, they're very positive and sure of themselves, very outspoken, very forceful, daring, confident, independent, they're decisive, they're the movers and shakers out there, they're tenacious, they're often a leader or a chief, very productive and very bold, and that is your personality of the choleric, the powerful choleric. So last on this one here that we want to go to is the popular sanguine. So popular sanguine, these are the ones that are you can pick them off, like I said, at a party. They're the ones that are having the fun. Everybody's circled around them and laughing. They're often laughing harder than everybody else. If they're a lady, they're often dressed very loudly with lots of bling. They decide very impulsively. So they see something, they want it, boom, there it is. It's emotion, right? They're very flashy, friendly, highly disorganized. They love interaction. That's how they recharge. You want to have a depressed sanguine, go put them where there's no people, okay? Put them in a structured environment. They die a slow death, right? Their speech, they're very talkative. They love to talk all the time. Their wants, they don't care. Who, what, where are we going? How's this going to work? Let's do it. Is it about fun? I'm in, Their dreams, they just want to be the star, right? Show them how they can be the star, and yep, they're talking. These guys, that's it, because they're all about fun. They're driven by their feelings and emotions, and, their strength is they're super fun to be around. But they really struggle to be factual, right? Because they talk and they animate things. So again, very animated, playful. They're sociable, convincing, in their talk. They're refreshing. They're spirited. They're typically the promoter of things. You want to have them promoting something for you. Spontaneous, optimistic, very funny, delightful, cheerful, inspiring, demonstrative. They mix easily with anybody because they're a big talker. They're very lively. They have a cute kind of personality around them. They're very popular, very bouncy, and that's some of the words to describe a sanguine. So that is your personalities, folks. I'm telling you, if you learn these personalities and which one is the predominant personality in a person when you're talking to them, this is going to be amazing for you. This will change your life, because not only will you know how to carry a conversation with somebody from observation, but you'll know what their strengths and weaknesses are. And when you know those strengths and weaknesses, it's much easier for you to go in with a plan of action, into whatever it is that you want to accomplish, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a sale, whatever it is you want to accomplish. By knowing personalities and particularly applying what you know, it's going to be amazing. So if you haven't read this book, I highly suggest you do. Read it with your spouse or significant other. You will laugh your butt off, first of all, because you'll start to get to know about each other. But most importantly, you'll get to know about you. And getting to know about you and how you operate and tick, even though you think you might, this will change your life. So I'm Cal Faber. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.